Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel. I am a Texas licensed to carry instructor, and I'm going to talk to you about the steps you are going to take in order to apply for your license. At this point, what I'm assuming is that you have completed your training, including the classroom and range portions, and passed all, and you have documentation of such. You're going to open a web browser of your choosing and just plug dps.texas.gov, exactly like I have up there. And let's go to the DPS website. The Department of Public Safety is the executive body which handles handgun licensing in the state of Texas. If we scroll down just past this search bar, there's a block right here, super convenient, that says handgun licensing. That will send you to the RSD subpage that talks about handgun licensing. Right now, we don't need to read this stuff. You can read that later if you want to, but we're going to scroll to this third block that says licensing and registration. When we click there, we have this page. This page is important because there's something else we will need here later. Just note what this looks like. Right here on this very first link, though, it says use this link to electronically apply for and renew your license, change your address, or report your stolen or lost license. Well, you are here to apply for your license, so you are going to click there. That will take you off of that dps.texas to this texapps.texas. And on this page, you need to read and make sure you have that stuff ready. It's not like it's going to time out or anything, but you're going to need that to be able to complete the rest of this process. And you are presumably a new user unless you've already done something else through this website. When you hit apply, it's going to ask for your Texas driver's license or Texas ID. This is a state website. It has immediate access to your existing state ID record, and it is going to use that to make sure everything is working together. You are going to enter your information, and it's going to prompt you to create an account using an email address and a password, similarly to the way you would create an account on virtually any other website. I already have an account here, and I'm not going to log into it on this video, but you're going to create an account. Unfortunately, that means I can't show you what the next steps are, but honestly, they're pretty self-explanatory. It is going to ask you for your demographic information, including your address, contact information, etc. It's going to ask you for employment information for the last 5 years. It's going to ask you about psychiatric, drug, alcohol, or criminal history. Like I said, it's going to ask you for an email address, and then it's going to give you some options to determine whether you fit in certain categories, which would allow you to pay a decreased fee for your application. Your Department of Public Safety approved license to carry instructor is not a lawyer, cannot give you legal advice, should not, and arguably could not, give you advice as to whether you fit into one of these categories. I'm going to be honest, they're pretty self-explanatory. I don't remember precisely what they are, but they have to do with whether you are active duty military, law enforcement, currently certain other types of civil officials, or make under a certain amount of income. But the website will explain it to you and or give you links to documents that explain it very carefully. Simply read what it's asking and answer the questions appropriately. You will fill out the entire application process, which this is basically all information to run your background check, and then you will pay the fee in order to finalize the application. Once you have done so, it will give you a confirmation page and or send you an email with confirmation saying what your next steps are. I'll basically tell you right now what your next steps are. You need to submit fingerprints, which usually involves a third-party company. The most common one I'm aware of is called Ident2Go. But if we go back to this page that I told you was going to be important, there are a couple of documents right here that'll explain that to you. If the confirmation email didn't explain it to you, or if the confirmation email's explanation wasn't clear enough, you can look right here at these to figure out how you're going to get your fingerprints done. The final step you have at this point is, over here on this right side, there are these menus. Right here, submit supporting documentation. This link is very important. We're going to click here. On this page is where you are going to submit a digital copy of the LTC 100 or LTC-101 if you did an online course, that form, which has been filled out by your instructor, has their name, has their signature, has your name and your ID or driver's license number up at the top, and your signature and the dates all down at the bottom. That form is going to be submitted through this page. You are going to leave this drop-down menu on handgun licensing. If for some reason it's not on handgun licensing and you navigated here a different way, just click handgun licensing. Select option. Right here is what you're looking for. Submit documents, applicants only. You are an applicant. LTC 100 or LTC 101, it doesn't make a difference. You are an applicant. This is your spot. That, after selecting that part of the drop-down, it regenerates the page and it'll ask you another question. Have you submitted your LTC application, or do you have an existing application on file? Technically, you can do this step before you've done the application. I don't see any reason why you should, and I do see a reason why that could potentially slow down the process for you, which is why I recommend doing this in the order that I'm describing. In that case, since we have done our application already, we are going to hit yes. It will have to regenerate the page again, and it's going to generate these blanks. You will have to fill it out with your first name, last name, and email. Your first and last name need to match the document. Your first and last name here need to match the document, and those first and last names need to match the first and last name that you entered on your application. If you give them different spellings, if you give them different names, it is, at the very least, I'm sure, going to slow things down or result in your application being rejected. Fill out that information, select the state, which if you're in state is most likely going to be Texas. If it's another state, whatever, you're going to put in your driver's license or ID number. And then down here a little bit further are these choose file blocks. You will have to hit choose file. It will open a dialog box and you will find the PDF on your computer and you will attach it. When you immediately come back here, this submit form box may be in a way that will allow you to click it. Before you do so, it's going to show your a file name here. You need to hit this attach button first. This attach button will actually cause the website to import that file and populate it temporarily here, and the rest of these should gray out or even disappear. Once they've done so, you'll be able to hit the submit form button, and then hitting that submit form button will generate a confirmation page and should generate also a confirmation email, or it might be a day or two and someone might have to manually process and send you that confirmation email. But that step is the last step if you are doing everything in the order which I've described it. That is your last step, is submitting your LTC 100 or LTC 101 form through this form. Now, if you selected some of these circumstances that I described earlier, which might reduce or change the amount of payment required for the application, you may have to submit other supporting documents as well to verify your status as military veteran, law enforcement, or your income status. You can also submit those documents here, and you can submit multiple documents at a time by hitting choose file, selecting a document, come back here, don't hit attach or submit form yet, just hit choose file, pick another one, right, just like that, and then once you've selected that file and selected all the files that you need, hit attach, and then it'll regenerate a temporary page and show that everything's been attached, and you'll submit the form and it'll submit all your documentation. Having submitted all of your documentation, your application is complete. If you have any questions about this, please contact your license to carry instructor. If there are questions that we can't answer, we can potentially contact the Regulatory Services Division using a contact method that we have as instructors, or we may direct you to contact them yourself depending on the nature of the question. I appreciate you sticking with me through this explanation. I hope things are easier now that this has been shown to you. The Department of Public Safety does periodically change the website. I'm recording this in late March of 2021, so if I notice a major overhaul of the website so that options are moved or the process changes, I will try to get back and update this website. The last thing that I'd like to leave you with is, if you have essentially only attended a license to carry course and shot your 50-round proficiency demonstration in front of an instructor, I would encourage you to seek additional training. I would like to show you one wonderful resource for vetted instructors of particularly high quality. It is the firearmstrainинghub.com. Firearms Training Hub with sufficient numbers of W's. Firearms Training Hub is hosted and only shows you vetted, high-quality instructors. Many of these people are nationally renowned traveling instructors who do this professionally and are respected by law enforcement, military, and other professionals. I am lucky enough myself to be listed here, but anyone here on this list has been vetted by other instructors on the list and by the gentleman who maintains this website as being highly qualified, knowledgeable instructors. And again, thankfully, I have been graced by being hosted here as well. I would recommend looking for additional training. Drawing a firearm from a holster under stress can be a dangerous situation if you are not trained how to do it well. And if you want to be able to protect your life and protect the lives of those you care about with a firearm, I recommend additional training. I also recommend additional training on topics of self-defense law. Your license to carry course was about 4 hours long, 4 to 6 hours long. That is not enough for you to understand self-defense law very well. So what I highly recommend to anyone who wants to carry a gun or may consider using a firearm for self-defense purposes, an attorney by the name of Andrew Ronca, a renowned expert in the use of legal self-defense, force in legal self-defense, has written this extremely well-written, well-edited, easy to understand, and thorough book, The Law of Self-Defense. It does not get much clearer than that. This book right here, you should consider required reading if you are making the informed and responsible decision to carry a gun to protect yourself and your loved ones. I highly recommend getting additional education beyond the scope of the license to carry course which you just completed, and I personally recommend this book. I don't have any formal affiliation with Mr. Bronca, though I have met him and do know him a little bit. I have no money at stake to be made here for your benefit, to include quite possibly significant, legal proceedings are expensive, to protect yourself as to what happens after you might potentially have to use a firearm in self-defense. I highly recommend this book. I highly recommend additional firearms training. And I appreciate you sitting through this video. I hope you found it helpful. Hope you found it useful. And I wish you all well. Stay safe. Stay responsible. Have a good day.